All right. So we are going to be doing lesson 1.1, which is model place value relationships. So the essential question, so our main question that we're looking at is how can you describe the value of a digit? So if we're looking back to the worksheet that we did yesterday when you were at home, you looked at numbers like, for example, 645, okay? And then they would have a number that's underlined and you have to write what the value of that number is. So for example, in this number, the value of 4 is 40, right? And it's in the tens place. All right, so this is more of what we're going to be looking at. So right here, we see that 1 cube equals 1. So a cube equals 1. A long is 10 ones. It equals 10, so there's 10 cubes stacked up to make a long. And then a flat is made up of 100 ones, and it is made up of 10 longs. So right here, I'm going to write 10 because there are 10 longs and 10 tens in a flat, in a 100. Here I have a cube. In the cube, I have 10 flats or 10 100s in the cube. Right here, we are going to hold off because we are going to answer these questions together. All right. Now it's asking us, blank, or a small cube represents 1. Blank small cubes make a long. So how many small cubes make a long? We know that 10 small cubes make a long, and the long represents 10. And now it's asking us how many longs make a flat. We know that 10 longs make a flat. So there's 10 of these 10s right here in a flat. And the flat represents 100. Okay? Now we want to find out how many of these flats go into the cube. How many flats do we need to make a cube? So how many hundreds do we need to make 1,000? So 10 of these flats will go into the cube to represent 100. So a pattern that I'm noticing right now is the 10 groups of the previous, so each model is 10 groups of the previous shape. So the cube is 1, and then the long is 10, and then the flat is 10 more than the long, and the cube is 10 more than the 100, or the flat. So now I'm going to scroll down. So I have to erase. So make sure you write all of that down. Oops. Oh, here we go. All right. I'm going to write these here again so you guys can see it. So I have 10 tens, 10 hundreds. All right, so 10 small cubes, 10 longs, make a flat, and the flat represents 100. And 10 flats make a large cube, and the large cube represents 1,000. All right. Now, our first question here to help us solve this portion of this first part of our problem. It says, describe a pattern in the shapes of the models. what will be the shape for 10,000? So a pattern I'm noticing here is it goes cube, long, flat, cube. So I know that this is going to be called a long, not ling, long. And the 10,000 is going to be 10 cubes stacked up high. So it'll basically look like a long, but instead of it being cubes, a small cube, it's going to be the big cube stacked up 10 times. So the shape in the model for 10,000 will be a long, and we know it will be 10,000 because it needs to be stacked 10 times. And we're noticing that each model is 10 groups of the past model. So I'm going to write here for you guys. The pattern shows cube, long, flat, cube. So the shape of the model for 10,000 will be long. And what I like to think of it as is I think of large cube or small cube, large cube, small long, and large long. Okay, that's what I like to think of it as. So just a bigger version of the cube and the long. So I'm going to give you guys a second to write that. All right, now it's saying describe a pattern you see in the sizes of the models. How will the size of a model for 100,000 compare to the size of a model for 10,000? So a common number that I'm seeing here is 10. So I'm noticing that each model is 10 times the size of the past model, right? So the long is 10 times the size of the cube. The flat is 10 times the size of the long. The cube is 10 times the size of the flat. And our large long is 10 times the size of the large cube. So I'm noticing that the model for 100,000 will be 10 times the size of the model for 10,000, okay? So I'm going to write here, the model for 100,000 will be 10 times the size of the model of 10,000. All right. So go ahead and write that down, and then we are going to go on to the next page. You can go ahead and pause the video if you don't have it all written down yet. And I'm going to clear it. And I'm turning to the next page. All right, so now we're looking at the value of a digit. So the value of a digit depends on the place value position in the number. A place value chart can help you understand the value of each digit in a number. The value of each place is 10 times the value of the place to the right. All right, so it's telling us to write 894,613 in the chart, and we're finding the digit of 9. All right, so I'm going to write in here, it tells us the value of each, but I'm just going to write the number here to help us understand. So I have 800. 900, 4,000, and then you guys can just take away those periods right there. I'm not sure why my computer is having me do that, but okay, I think it's gone now. 613. Again, I'm not sure why those are coming up. Okay, perfect. So I have my number, 894,613. So the value of the digit 9 is 9 10,000s, or, so we have 9 10,000s, or looking here at this chart that's really helping us out, it's telling us that that number is 90,000. Too many zeros. All right. So if we were to look at this again, let's say it's a the value of the digit 4 is 4,000, or is 4,000s, or 4,000. It could say the value of the digit 6 is 600s, or just 600, like writing 600. Now we are going to compare the values of these underlined digits in the number 2,304. So we're looking at that 3 and 16,135. So again, I'm going to clear this. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to see that. Okay, so we're going to compare these two numbers. So first it says, find the value of 3 in 2,304. So show 2,304 in a place value chart. Why we write these numbers in this place value chart is because the chart shows us what each number represents. So it kind of gives us that visual of what each number really means, or what it is. It's not just the 2 in 2,304 isn't really 2. It's 2,000. So it's important that we remember that. We have 2,300, and then 0 10s, 4. Okay, so because I already put this in the chart, the value of the digit 3 is right where I put it. It is the hundreds. So we know that 3 as 100 is 300. Okay, now show 16,135 in the place chart. If you're confused as to where to go, I would start by going backwards. So start by putting in your ones, which we know is 5. You don't have to do it this way, it's just helpful if you're not sure where each number goes. You can always start backwards. So I know my ones place is 5, my tens place is 3, my hundreds is 1, my thousands is 6, and my 10,000s is 1. So the value of the digit 3 in 16,135 is the tens. 3 written as a 10 is 30. So each 100 is 10 times as many as 10. So 300s is 10 times as many as 3 10s. Now it's saying, so the value of 3 in 2,304 is how many times the value of 3 in 16,135. So if you look back at this, we found, so that really seems like a confusing question, but if you look here, we saw that the value of the digit 3 in 2,304 is 300. And here in the number 16,135, the digit 3 is represented as 30. And if we think back to last year when we were doing multiplication, I know that 30 goes into 300 10 times. So the value of 3 in 2,304 is 10 times the value of 3 in 16,135. All right, so now that we are kind of understanding more of what place value is, you guys are going to apply those skills of what I taught you and do pages 7 and 8. 8 is a little bit trickier. I will be available to help you through a Zoom call at the end of the day today. If you need, or sorry, I keep saying Zoom. It is Google Meets. My bad. So I'll be available on our Google Meets at the end of the day if you need help. If you're like, I am just flying through this Masiwich, this is easy peasy lemon squeezy, go ahead and do those extra pages 9 and 10. Okay. Maybe there'll be some type of reward if you turn that pages 9 and 10 in and you have most of the answers right, and I can see that you put in a lot of work. So keep that in mind. Keep up the great work, and remember, if you have any questions, I will be available throughout the day. If you can always call me, or you can just wait till the end of the day when we have our Google Meets. All right, great job.